Did you know that the Aztecs practiced human sacrifice? And if you thought to yourself, duh, yes, everybody knows that, then we've got some interesting facts for you about this ancient Mesoamerican civilization. Stick around until the end of the video when we reveal why the Spanish conquistadors may have exaggerated the number of people sacrificed at the great temple of Tenochtitlan. To put it bluntly, the Aztec economy was based on human sacrifice. You may be thinking to yourself right now that the Aztecs were savages, and maybe they were. But did you know that some of the victims of human sacrifice were treated like gods while alive? Did the Aztecs practice human sacrifice because they were savages? Or was there a deeper meaning behind it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. The Aztecs practiced a form of human sacrifice called the flowery death. It was reserved for important prisoners of war and those deemed worthy by the emperor. These people were paraded through the city, celebrated as heroes, and given gifts. In fact, they were treated so well that many of them were given their choice of women as partners. For up to 5 days, these honored guests would live in a temple and partake in feasts and religious rituals. Once it was time for the sacrifice, they would lie down on a stone altar. A priest would ask the gods for forgiveness for what was about to happen. And then a sharp obsidian knife would slice open the victim's chest and remove their beating heart. But before this final moment, the victim would receive one last gift, a flower to represent the flowery death. Sometimes the victim would even wear a crown. After the heart was removed, the body would be tossed into the crowd, and the heart would be dipped into a bowl of blood and offered to the gods. From the 14th to 16th centuries, they believed that in order for the sun to move across the sky each day, they had to give him something he wanted most: human hearts. Well, the conquistadors claimed that at least 20,000 people were killed every year, and up to 50,000 people during the festivals. However, the actual numbers may have been much lower. According to a recent study of the bones found at the Templo Mayor, researchers estimate that only about 660 people were sacrificed at the temple each year, with the total number being closer to 2,000 annually. This estimation is based on evidence of trauma consistent with ritual sacrifice. That means that the conquistadors may have exaggerated the numbers to make the Aztecs look more barbaric than they really were. Why, you ask? Well, it was all for propaganda. When Cortés and his men arrived in the Aztec Empire, they immediately began spreading rumors of a great city made of gold. This was, of course, referring to the capital of the Aztec Empire, Tenochtitlan, which did have many temples and palaces made of gold leafed in obsidian. The Spaniards knew that if they told the Aztecs that they were there to help them defeat their enemies, the Aztecs would likely accept them as allies. But in order to get the Aztecs to accept them as allies, the Spaniards needed to convince the Aztecs that they were superior. What better way to do that than to claim that the Aztecs were cannibals and human sacrifices? Spaniards also claimed that the Aztec king Montezuma had a golden throne that was covered in human hearts. Of course, this was a lie, but it made for good propaganda. Unfortunately for the Aztecs, most of the Europeans that heard these lies believed them, and the rest is history. So every year they would perform a ritualistic human sacrifice to keep the sun happy. But why did the Aztecs believe that they needed to sacrifice humans for the sun god? Well, according to legend, one day the gods decided to hold a meeting in the heavens. While they were gone, the earth was without light. When the gods returned, they asked who had disturbed their sleep and caused such darkness. Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun, demanded that someone be sacrificed so he could eat their heart and restore his strength. It was an emergency, and the only person nearby was the moon goddess, Huitzilopochtli, who had just given birth to the stars. And so she was sacrificed. After that, her brother, Tectecutli, the creator god, ordered that for humans be sacrificed every year, so the sun god would not be so tired from traveling across the sky each day. Over time, though, these 4 yearly sacrifices turned into many sacrifices during festivals and even war. If they captured an enemy, they would often sacrifice them to the sun god. They also began to build temples dedicated to the sun god, where thousands of sacrifices would occur. The largest of these temples was the Great Temple of Tenochtitlan, which still stands today, but is now known as the Templo Mayor. As with all our videos, there are no ads or sponsors, just straight facts from ancient history. Let's get started. No one. They believed sacrifices kept the sun moving. Number 2. Some victims were treated like gods before death. Number 3. The Spanish conquistadors exaggerated the numbers. We know that the Aztecs practiced human sacrifice, but how many people were actually killed? Now it's time for you to tell us what you think.